Welcome to PWE Music. I'm Dr. Patrick Engler, and once again, thank you for joining me on our All-State video resource series. In this video, we're focusing on one of the Texas selections for low clarinet. And this is selection number 2. This is number 25 from the 32 Etudes by Rose, as found on page 70 of the Artistic Studies, Book 1, from the French School, by David Hite. Let's get into it. If you've been following along with the other videos I've been putting out, you'll probably find some familiar points with this etude, especially as it pertains to the slower, lyrical, more expressive etudes. But there are a couple unique things with this one that hopefully you'll find helpful. And if this is your first video you're watching of mine, welcome, and I hope these points help you with your preparation. So the first main point that I'd like to get into is we want to make sure that we understand how we're going to count and we practice this etude in that way. So what's the problem here? Let's look at our time signature. We have 6/4. 6 beats per measure, quarter note gets the beat. So the first way we can count this is just in 6, counting our quarter notes. But let's consider our tempo. Our tempo marking is dotted half note equals 56. So we have two ways of counting this. As I said before, we just count the quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or we count our dotted half notes. And here we're grouping our quarter notes into groups of 3. So we have 2 big beats, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 1, 2. If you've counted 6, 8 before, this is the same way that we would group those together. We either count 6/8 notes or 2 dotted quarter notes. Here, we're just moving it up a level to half notes and quarter notes. So, if you can, I would suggest counting in the big beat. Dotted half note equals 56. This is going to be a little bit easier to count. We're not going to be kind of tapping our foot or micromanaging the beat too much. If you need to, though, count it in the quarter notes so that you can keep it nice and clean and well organized. Just make sure that we're working to make it nice and smooth as we go throughout, because we do want to remember this is a more expressive, more lyrical etude, and we don't want it to get too chopped up with our beats. So, ultimately, whichever way you choose, make sure that you practice that way and make sure that you're really double checking your organization of the beat so that everything gets its own time. Next, again, if you watch other videos of mine, you'll find some of these points familiar, but we're going to group it all together. So this is as I said many times, lyrical, expressive etude. One of our big goals should be making it as smooth and connected as possible. So our strategies for making that happen. First, good air support. So we're always having a nice, well-supported sound, full, rich tone. We never want it to get really ghostly or weak sounding. So even at the smaller dynamics, we have a nice, solid sound. And to get that, it starts with good air support. Next, we want to have fast and light fingers. So a pitfall with the slower etudes is that our fingers can get kind of slow and not very quick. The key to a good connected sound is light and fast fingers. If our fingers are fast, we're going to be moving and opening those keys quicker, and so the instrument will respond faster, making it a smoother transition from note to note. Especially with our low clarinets, where we need a little bit extra time, the faster and lighter our fingers can be, the better, and the more connected our sound will be ultimately. So a specific example of this, especially as it pertains to low clarinet, are these leaps from a middle C to a high C, and we'll find that in measures 6, 27, or 45. In every example, it's the same. So we have a third space C slurred up to a high thumb and register key C. So especially on bass clarinet, where some of you may have the articulated register system where it changes depending on which part of the second register you're in, we want to make sure our fingers are light and quick to make that transition seamless. And we want to make sure that, especially the right hand, where we'd be changing that register vent, come up as well. Or else we're going to have a hitch in the sound and it's not going to be as connected. So fingers light and fast, and this is a good example of where we want to really make sure that we're achieving that. So another familiar point that I've gotten into in several other videos is we want to have nice solid entrances. We don't want the sound to be delayed in entering, or we're going to throw ourselves off, we're going to throw the listener off. Nice solid entrance. And in this etude, we have a lot of entrances in the second register, a little more difficult with bass clarinet, and a lot of those entrances themselves are piano. So as I've said before, consider piano to be full tone, good tone. We're not trying to niente entrance. We're not trying to get into that like ghostissimo clarinet entrance. We want to have good solid entrance in time that is clear. So piano is not the softest thing that you can possibly play. Piano is just soft. We want to leave a little bit of room to get even softer if we need to. And so we can have a good solid entrance at even piano, and then we make sure we crescendo so that piano, it registers as piano for a listener. Finally, a good rule of thumb when you're working on your phrasing in these slower, more expressive etudes is to look for where your half steps are. So the half steps are a good marker of where there's some progression in the melody, in the kind of implied harmony of these etudes. If we can dig into our half steps a little bit, that's going to give a little bit extra juice to the phrasing that we're working on, and it's going to show off a little bit more musicality in our ultimate product. So look for those half steps, kind of show those off, dig into them a little bit, and that's going to help with the musical progression, and it's going to sound a little more polished to the listener. That about covers it for this etude. Even though I only hit a few points, there's a lot to dig into with this, and you can really, there's a lot of room to make it your own and really dig into some of the expressive elements, as there often is with the slower, more lyrical etudes. But hopefully these points help you get on your way with your preparation of this etude. As always, if there are any questions, anything you think I missed, throw it in the comments. I'll make sure to address it. Be sure to subscribe so you can catch all the other videos in the All-State resource series, and we'll catch you in the next one. Happy practicing.